So just so you know, that is something that's different on Zoom. So what they have just implemented, I hit the record button. It tells everyone this meeting is being recorded. So if you're doing session work, please know that. Like, don't start recording when they're in hypnosis, because you're going to pull them right out of hypnosis. That's not an effective way to do that. That's just new with Zoom, which I think is good. I don't have any problem with it, because I always tell people I'm recording it anyway. Oh, here we go. Here's Paulette. So welcome to the Hypno Huddle. So the reason that we're having this Hypno Huddle, there's a couple things that we decided that would be from the feedback from lots of different people, all of you, that would be good is if we, hi Paulette.
Hi.
We had like Peter, for example. When did you graduate your hypnosis class? Because we did it in our
hypnosis class.
Yeah, hypnosis class, the first one.
2014.
2014.
Is when I got certified. So I think
You think you did the class in what, 2013?
13, yeah, and something like that. And
I think you were one of the first classes. I mean, I could go
second class, yeah.
Second class, okay. And we did it in our house. So that's when we didn't have we didn't have an office. Did we have an office? Nope. We had let the office go. So we did the first two classes in my house in Abbotsford. So around the kitchen table. And it was actually quite fun to do it. Everybody
with London fogs.
Fog lattes. Because I would make people London fog lattes. So yeah, online you don't get that. That's the way it goes. And I still make London fog lattes because they're awesome. Anyway, so he was one of the. So I want to showcase graduates what they're doing. So how they're using hypnosis. And the reason for that is because it might trigger something for you. Number one, you now know, once you're done, hopefully with Peter today, you'll know that if you have somebody that's grieving, that's going through a loss, there is now an expert that you can actually send that person to. So that's number one. And you have already met him, and you'll like him, or you will like him. He's amazing. And so you have that confidence to send that person to them. Or you also have a resource. You can call them and say, hey, I need help. Now, my question is, do we open this up to the public? Do I put this on Facebook and we do this Facebook Live? Or do we just leave it to graduates and students? Anybody have any thoughts?
What do you mean by opening up the Facebook? Like, what would you open up? Like
the meeting.
This meeting?
Yeah, this meeting.
Oh, to come and join?
Yeah, and the reason for that is because it would be great for the person that's doing the speaking. Because, I mean, I have 4,800 people on my Facebook, and if all of a sudden we're going to have a conversation about grieving and death, you may get a nice load of clients, and that may be something that you want to do. So this becomes a network marketing thing as well. Or do we keep it just as within our own group? Which one would you like?
Well, I'll say from my experience running death cafes online, I got hacked. We had about 4 or 5 people come in. And so at that time, I didn't have any buffers where they just click on the link and they're in. Okay. And they were basically bad-mouthing and swearing. And
really?
they're like teenagers, right? And they're not leaving, and they're putting people down in group, and eventually really got rid of them, right? So that's something to be aware of. Like, you don't know.
Yeah, because I have a waiting room. Everybody has to wait till I put them in.
Yeah, so if you know them, long as you get rid of them, right?
And you can get rid of them. I can get rid of them.
So
we have the ability to demolish them in many ways. Not even just like physically. So let's see, how fast can we get rid of people? Let's look.
Yeah, it's a
yeah, you can. You can remove them.
Yeah, because you have a waiting room now. Like at that time, I didn't have a waiting room.
Yeah, well, I think they did that waiting room because of that. And the password is just too hard. Anybody
Yeah.
can get the password. So
I got it now that you have to register first. So I have your email, and then you get the link, and then you
For
go
sure.
to the waiting room, and then you're in.
So anybody else have any thoughts about whether this just stays with the academy or does it go to the general public?
Maybe
But-
you could have it initially with the group and see how it boils along, and then if it's looking like there's a lot more interest, then put it out to the public.
Okay.
Yeah, it's marketing, right? So you put
Mhm.
an interest out there. It's marketing for your stuff and what understanding what, because we still have a stigma out there. What is a hypnotherapist? You know, basically the stage stuff, right?
Yeah, there's a stigma, but you know, in the last, so New Leaf Wellness Clinic where I work, just to give you an idea, like in the last 2 weeks, I don't know what has happened, but I have had like 6 clients come in. I don't know them from Adam. And by the time I was done talking to them, they bought packages and they're going to be working with me for 3 or 4 months. So I didn't even talk to them before they came in. Normally they have me because I have a 10-minute consult. So they didn't even do that. They just called and made an appointment or they booked it online. So what that says to me, because I only have like 10 slots available a week with New Leaf because I don't do any more than that there. And so, but 6 clients just booked themselves online, put their credit card on the line, like all of that stuff, because they have to put their credit card down to have a session. And that's pretty actually amazing, actually. I've never seen that before. So I think we're coming into that kind of point where hypnosis is going to be a lot busier than what you think.
Sure. Yeah, people want holistic
People are
methods.
done. They're done with COVID. They're done with the restraints. They're done. They're just done. Let me travel. Let me go away from here because I'm sick of it. So that's what people are thinking. So their mental health is starting to go, okay, so I need some mental health because I don't have any.
Yeah. It's
So-
medication they want to stay away from.
What's that?
It would be good.
Medication they want to get off or stay away
Off the
from.
medication too, yeah.
Maybe it would be good education then. More exposure, right?
Well, it's always good education. It's designed to be educational, so that's the point of this. Anyway, so we'll leave it as it is right now, and then we may change it because we're only doing it once a month, but I think we may change it anyway. Maybe September. We'll do it to see for the summer, and then we'll see what September brings. And if we do change it, then Peter will bring you back, and then you can do a big promo on your stuff, what you're going to do, and we'll do it to the general public.
Cool.
All right. So does anybody have anything that they're working on? So the purpose of this is to share information. And also, if there's anything that you're working on that you need some support with, this is an opportunity for you to do that. So we're going to have Peter speak in a minute, but before we do, maybe there is something that is there anything that anybody wants to talk about? All the clients are good?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. What
I have a client. Well, I haven't taken her officially yet, but she's bipolar.
okay.
And I've not worked with a client yet that's bipolar. And I'm not sure I should.
Okay. So here's the question. Here's a couple questions that you might want to ask yourself. Shasta is now joining us. There we go. So a couple of questions that you'd ask yourself. Do you have her intake form?
Yes.
Okay. So is she on medication?
Yes.
And how is she take her medication all the time?
Nope.
That's part of the problem. So as soon as you have somebody with mental health that is not taking their medication all the time, we have instability there, and then that becomes a problem for therapy. That's the first thing. That's the first red flag that I would use. Second thing is, does she work with the psychiatrist? Or
No.
psychologist?
No.
No. Yeah. Or counselor?
No.
Well, that's you, right?
Yeah.
And you've never
Sent
dealt with it, so there's some red flags there already too.
Yeah.
I would have red flags too. I would be concerned about that.
I sent it to a doctor
Okay.
and just said if he gives permission.
Yeah, then that's what I would do. Talk to her doctor, because the doctor, I mean, you're a counselor as well as a hypnotherapist, so he may think that that's better. But if she's not stable on her meds, I would have a problem working with her because
Yeah.
you don't know what's coming next.
No.
And
I
I know
appreciate the answer though.
they're not like schizophrenia where they feel good and then they go off their meds and then they feel bad. Bipolar needs to be constantly managed.
Yeah, that was what I was thinking I would do, but I just wanted to hear your opinion.
Yeah, work with doctors as much as you can. Work with the medical community because the medical community, they don't even know. Doctors don't even know what hypnosis can do. Like they don't have a clue. Like my doctor didn't have a clue. Oh yeah, I took an hour of it in med school. Yeah, okay. Yeah, isn't it like make you laugh? Yeah, it does. And you're a big joke. Stop talking. Anyway. Any other questions? Mara, how's your business going? You're on mute. There you go.
It's going slow, but almost as a choice because I've been more busy with the store, that I like the energy there and all that. And if somebody comes in and talks to me, or everybody that comes in talks to me. So if they say, oh, I need that for this or that or whatever, then I say, well, I can do hypnotherapy. So this is my card if you want to come in. So one, I know you said not to advertise on Craigslist, but there is one that says wellness, health and wellness, and that was free. So I said, well, I'll try it. I had a few hits, a few people, and the last one was about kids. One, it says, I have 2 kids, one is overweight, and the other one is on drugs and video gaming all day long, day and night. So with that, what I did, I said, I am not prepared to work with kids, but I do have a referral, and I was going to send them to you if they would have wanted then to send me an email, proper email, and then I would send the information. But then after that, they didn't reply. So
yeah, and generally in those cases they won't.
Yeah, but kids, we didn't have too much. That we did much with kids on our classes, so and I didn't think it would be proper for me to start working on them when I don't know, right? Yeah.
Yeah, like they don't even know what they really wanted anyway.
Well, I think the way he put it was that he couldn't handle the kids. So can somebody just take them away from me or something like that? Like think somebody else take the responsibility for it. Anyway, that was my feeling on the way he wrote it, he or she. So anyway, that was that. The other 2 that I did, it's been quite successful. One completely not smoking at all. The other one is doing really well in her diabetes, lower the diabetes, doing really what she's supposed to do, like walking and eating properly and all that stuff. And so that was kind of a good confirmation for me that it does work. And so I'm taking this more as a part-time kind of thing. If the opportunity comes, I will take it. But right now, that's where I am. I mean, it's no way. After every time I did somebody, you go do research and try to, put it together. Like I'm at that age. I don't have the energy.
Well, yeah.
It's a lot of work, like you
There
said,
does
when you
come a
start doing
point-
it.
There does come a point when you don't need to do the research anymore, though, just so you're aware. You just-
Yeah, yeah.
And then there comes a point, right, Peter?
Always left, yeah.
What's that?
Always on the left, yes.
Always on the left, yeah. Oh,
Trying
yeah.
to be funny, I guess.
Yeah, you're hilarious. Hilarious. Meaning you end up doing less research because you've done the research once on a subject, and then you start to figure out, okay, so that's what's happening.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So that's me.
thank you
I
for
think not too much excitement on my part.
anyone else? Well, I'd like to welcome Tracy and Paulette. They are in the latest class that's going on right now. They're actually both in Kelowna at the moment, Lake Country and Kelowna. Shasta tried to come in. I don't know if she is here. Anyway, so welcome, you two. Wonderful people taking the class. We had quite the action-packed weekend.
Thank you.
Age regression and past life regression, as you remember. Those are kind of some fun subjects, dealing with some fun issues, which was quite impactful.
Today I had an appointment and I went to the appointment, and both me and the dog, we barely crawled home and got into bed, and I was just gone. Like, it was like it finally sort of hit me on an energetic level, but I was so tired, and I'm still tired. So
Yeah, because
or is it the full moon too?
no, oh yeah, actually you're right. It is 26
Oh.
moon.
Well, and it's a
Again,
super
makes
moon,
a difference.
and it's also an eclipse.
Oh, so then that could be a reason why too. Yes. Yeah, today, after speaking all weekend and then last night, today I had 5 sessions back to back and went, I don't know how my voice is. It's kind of, yeah, okay. Okay, if you don't know what these are, these become your friend. These are eucalyptus menthol. Get them from the health food store. Make sure you get the right ones. They do have sugar in them, but I tell you, they save my throat every single time.
Well, thanks for having the meeting still, and nice to be here.
Yeah, you're welcome. I would not miss it if I said it. Okay, anyone else have anything they want to talk about before we give it over to Mr. Peter Bohme? Okay, we're going to give it over to Peter Bohme.
Away.
Yay! Mr. Pedro.
Hello and welcome to my presentation.
Yeah.
When we talk about the Death Cafe, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about my journey. Well, first of all, who knows what a Death Cafe is?
It's a place you have coffee and you die.
Possibly.
Sorry, I just being a smart ass.
I love it.
Yeah, he knows. Yeah.
It's a brave name, anyways. That's for sure.
It's basically a place where it's a safe place where you can talk about death, right? So it's conversations around death, dying, and grieving. But I'm going to back up a little bit how I got to doing this. So back in, I'm from Vancouver originally, born in Burnaby, and then I moved out to Chilliwack. I'm in Chilliwack right now. I've been living out here since 5 years, I guess now. Anyways, my fiance Brandy, she's American. She was living in San Diego, and she got involved with the hospice down there. It's they had a program called No One Dies Alone. So what that is, people have like less than 24 hours to live, and maybe there's no family members around, and their object is that they don't want nobody dying alone. So they would send a volunteer there just to sit with them for a few hours, and if they do pass during their visit, then that's that time. But it's very comforting for a person. the last 24 hours. To just have somebody there in that same room, it's the energy, touch their hand, whatever that may be, right? So it's comforting to the person that has not much time left, right? So she came back, Brandy kept coming back with a lot of great stories about, just beautiful stories about the person who they met and what was they're going through and their kind of journey. And when I moved out in Chilliwack here in 2016, I kept donating stuff to the local thrift store, which was the Chilliwack Hospice here. And with the stories from Brandy, it's anyways, I got connected with the Chilliwack Hospice. I took a course in how to be a hospice volunteer, and just found it to be my tribe, right? So the people there are very caring, and they have a energy working. They call it a relaxation team. So they do energy work, Reiki and healing touch and different modalities. So and when I joined the hospice there, and I worked in their facility, it's a 10-bed ward, and people have days or weeks left to live, basically, right? So, and the connections I made with some of the people, and what's really rewarding is like some of these people, like I knew exactly where they worked or what they did as a job was just, wow, that was very powerful, very inspirational, right? Other people there are, if they're off the streets, they got nobody, or just they're street people, and to people that are just going to have a party. They got the last few hours left to live, and they can't have no control over their organs and stuff like that. They don't care. They're just having fun. Other people are much more in a lot of pain to just want to be left alone, right? So some people have families, some people don't. But it was the connections I made, even with a few people. You sit with them for an hour, you talk with them, and they're just there's a lot of wisdom in the death. They have a lot of knowledge, a lot of life experience, and they're just very humbling experience. And that's but everybody is, all the volunteers are just, it's kind of what drives them on. It's just very compassionate. So anyways, I did that for a couple of years, and then COVID hit. And since I was really involved with the Chilliwack Hospice out here, helping out with the volunteering events and the relaxation team and stuff. Oops. I just want to spread the word about death, and I guess one of the hypnotherapists in another the BCIMDHA Facebook group I belong to, like, she was a celebrant, and I had no idea what the heck a celebrant was, right? A celebrant is a person who has a loved one that's dying in the family, and then prepares a funeral or makes arrangements, or helps out with getting the will and whatever finances, helping the person. Okay, I need to drive you to the bank. I need to drive you here and there, and so she kind of does that stuff. And I had no idea what it was, and she wanted to open a death cafe in Burnaby, and so I found out more information about it, and I found a guy in Maple Ridge doing death cafes for like 8 years out there, and contacted him, and he helped me set up the Chilliwack Death Cafe. And it's just about talking about death and dying and grieving, and there's such a big need for it. So the first death cafe happened 10 years ago. In 2011, a fellow in the UK, John Underwood, he held the first death cafe in his living room. So 10 years later, there's now over 12,388 death cafes in 78 countries. So the need to talk about death is there, because family, society, the Western culture basically doesn't talk about it, or doesn't treat it with the respect and wisdom that death has around it, right? So you look here in BC, we have about 2 million, You think about 2 million baby boomers here in BC, right? So it's people in the 60s and 70s. So what that means over the next 10 years is going to be another additional, or next 10 years, but another 100,000 deaths happening per year to the normal 35,000. So hospitals, we have about 10,000 hospital beds and about 250 hospice beds. So where are these people going to die? How are they going to die? And the dignity around death, we need to talk about stuff like that, because there's cultures, there's families get torn apart when somebody dies, and so many people are not prepared for death as far as financially having the wills and stuff like that in order. And then, the next big wave or care is the end of life doulas that are happening now. People need to, when a person is dying, right? It's stressful for the whole family or for the people involved. Families don't want nothing to do with that person. That person has nobody. What are they going to do? So there's all kinds of dynamics happening and stresses around the person who's dying, which should be a lot easier than, it should be much more gentle and much more dignified, I guess, around death, because it's just not treated that way. And many stories I heard about the funeral parlors and even doctors. The doctor's prime directive, a lot of them, right, is to, if I can't keep you alive, then good luck, see you later, right? They're not trained in hospice care. Hospice really means there's no more medical help that can be given to that person. And palliative care is, well, we'll keep you on medicine and hopefully you'll get better, right? So, and a lot of doctors have no clue about what hospice is about. But it's becoming more and more educated, and the doctors that are palliative doctors, they're great, they're very kind, they're very understanding, but then there's a shortage of those doctors here in Chilliwack. I think there's one palliative doctor that covers like from Langley to Hope, so Mission and Harrison, they're all over the place, right? So we need more help, and the power has to be given back to the people and educated, because quite often, okay, we can sidetrack again. So there's a need for the Death Cafe.
So what is a Death Cafe?
It's a group of people. You get together, whether it's one person or two people, and we talk about grief. We talk about dying. We talk about death, right? Some people, I have a lot of people, they're end of life doulas, they're celebrants, they're counselors, and they have stories about kind of like what I talk about. Other people come on there, they said, my dad's dying in Alberta, and my brothers and sisters want nothing to do with it, and I haven't talked to my dad for 10 years. What do I do, right? I need help. And as I mentioned, contact the local hospice. Well, what's that? They have no idea. The doctors don't have no idea, right? So there's that part of it. And I've had a couple of people where they're terminal, right? They have 6 months or less to live. And they use a Death Cafe as basically it's a life-saving platform, because when you are given you got X amount of time to live, your mind is racing and they can't sleep, and you're just stressed out, and you don't want to burden your spouse, or anybody else, take the anger out. So Death Cafes that are basically online now at any time, it's a life-saving, because that person who's dying, he just needs somebody to be there with him, right? Mm-hmm. Quite often they don't want to be left alone because they'll go insane. quite often they just want to be have somebody, can you just be on the phone with me and don't say nothing. I'll watch TV, you watch TV or do housework, and if I need to say something, you'll be there, and that's comforting, right? So they need things like that, right? And like I said, I had people come on, they had kids committed suicide, right? Got shot or found them dead in the bathtub. It's like there's a lot of trauma happening there, all kinds of different cases. It's not like not everybody finds a person dying in the bed or a hospital bed, right? It's not always like that. So there's some real trauma there.
How do you use hypnotherapy with regards to the Death Cafe, or do you?
Well, it's grief, right? So I don't promote what I do. I may mention that, but the problems that people are experiencing that are grieving, sleep. They can't sleep. They have a few hours and they're up, and a lot of these people that I work with too, it's like they have this memory. I found my wife dead in the bathtub. Get that fucking picture out of my head. Get that memory. Get it out of it. I don't want it anymore, right? So they're dealing with that repetitive stuff, and that's
how you help them with hypnosis then.
Yeah, well, and even the energy work, relaxation is just, I do that too, and they just want to feel calm and peaceful just for even the half hour or whatever it is, because they get back into the real world. Their stress level, they're dealing with the estate, the wills and the doctors and the finances and the family and all kinds of things, right? Really, it's a loneliness that if their spouse dies, it's that loneliness, that emptiness. They've been with that person 30, 40, 50 years, and suddenly they're gone, and some people don't have a will to live. They just kill me now. So it's all kinds of things, and they don't want to take pills. They don't want to get on medication, and most of these people just need somebody to listen to and talk to. And the Death Cafe, I've had people come on, like I've been to all these different grief groups for the last 6 months, and I'm sick and tired of hearing people and crying and the poor me stories. Just, I need a change, right? Just somebody to just listen to what just listen with no judgment. And what else can I do about this type thing? They're looking for other answers, right? So it's a healing place, and like on my Death Cafe too, I had one person that comes all the time. She's in Ohio. She's studying to be a mortician, right? And some great insights in one of the meetings I had when the mother found, or her son was found floating in the lake, right? For about a week, and she was denied seeing the body because of she couldn't decomposition, right? And then they had the body out unrefrigerated for about a week. Then they did the autopsy, so the body's in gross shape, right? So she has trouble with. They told me my son's dead, but all I got is his ashes, but I never seen him dead, so I don't know if he's really dead or not, right? So all these phantom memories, and then they have people who want to connect with their loved ones, like, we can do a past life regression, or we can do some sort of, really it's all about sleeping and relaxing, right? Traumatizing and stuff like that.
It's pretty stressful, I would think, and nobody to talk to, and probably no one to even understand unless they've actually been going through it, or somebody who's trained. Like, obviously, once you've gone a part of a Death Cafe, you become you get to know what's happening, but then all of a sudden somebody throws a curveball too. And so you don't always know what's going to coming through the door on the phone or on Zoom. I think empathy is probably going to be a big component of that. And then helping them wherever they're at.
Right. And then some of the other things they have trouble with, they want closure, repetitive thoughts. They have guilt,
Oh yeah, for
They
sure.
have anger because why did my child die?
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to die before my child or
I'm
my
supposed to die
husband
before my kid.
or my wife. Like, I got ripped off. We're having we're about to retire and stuff like that, right? So
Yeah.
there's anger and why, right? And a lot of the people they're foggy, right? They have this fog in their head because they're just numb, right?
Yeah.
From the experience, and it's like, so how can you help in hypnosis? Just relaxing, do some relaxation is
For sure.
is
I mean,
huge.
hypnotists that's the one thing that they're very good at is actually just providing a relaxation and an empathic ear and relaxation. Seriously, sometimes that's all that somebody can actually handle.
And it's huge for them, right?
Yes.
It's a huge relief.
Yeah. No, for sure. And then if you have wills and all this other stuff, that's the whole financial part. It's about keeping them calm when they're going through that whole process too, and keeping them focused, so that they don't just, lose their shit everywhere, literally, like because they're so upset.
They're very vulnerable, right? So
yeah, and not letting somebody take advantage of them. I just went through that with one of my, they had somebody, he's in hospice, and they had them change the will right there. And it's like, that's just so unfortunate. Not that we could do anything about that. However, if the person is clear and calm, maybe they might see it before.
Yeah, one thing, before I forget, one thing that was great about the hospice, they do end of life planning, right?
Yeah.
So that's something that the government has. And one thing I found out, maybe you guys know this already, but you can book a 1-hour consultation with your family doctor and talk about what's going to happen if I get into a coma, or do not resuscitate, and medication and stuff like that. And one thing about the hospice here in Chilliwack does, they create something that they call it the life box, right? So that all your forms, all the information that you need, that you might need, because when you die, you could be dying what is your personal information? What is your password on your phone or on your computer?
What is your bank account information?
How many bank accounts you had? My dad had like 4 different bank accounts that keep popping up, and some other information like who's your lawyer, where is your will kept, and all kinds of information that you don't think about at the time, like how do you want to be buried? Does anybody know which cemetery? Or there's so many different options now other than being buried or cremation.
I'm going to get buried in a tree.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, I am. That's what I'm doing. I'm getting.
My daughter is too. Yeah.
I'm so getting as a tree. I'm coming back as a tree. Too bad. Don't chop me down because I'll haunt you. No embalming, none of that. You just get that to me sounds very cool.
Yeah. There's so many different ways to do that now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But people have to know about it, and you have to have that prepared, and all kinds of little things that you're not aware of, right? That we should be preparing at a young age, even, right?
Yeah.
What happens if you die?
I have a question, not for you, but for everybody else. How many of you feel comfortable talking about this subject?
I love it. I thank
Absolutely.
you for doing what you do, because it's so true, and it's so unfortunate that people aren't comfortable with it. It's just so sad because it makes everything awkward, and all the person is trying to do is, die with dignity, and everyone around them is behaving awkward or yeah, it's just no. I love that, and I've always wanted to be part of that. I don't know where you take a course of death doula or whatever, but I thought, so my dad, do I have time to tell a story?
Yeah.
My dad was sleeping when he was dying because he had, anyways, his kidneys were shutting down. So it was a real slow, really nice, I guess, if you could say. So I was there with him, and before they put the catheter in, he would get up to go to the bathroom, and so that was my time to spend with him. And so I would help him to the bathroom, and he would say, yeah, really weird. I said, what? And he goes, I'm having so many dreams. And I said, oh yeah, what about? And he said, all these people are welcoming me and celebrating me, and it's a party for me, and everybody that I haven't seen in so long is welcoming me. And I said, that's really cool. And he goes, but it's really weird because all of them have already died. And I was like, what? And that was his gift to me.
Mm-hmm.
In that like it's been an incredible gift through my whole life, because he told me that there is a death process that makes it easier on people, like to have dreams and sort of take you over that threshold slowly, where you're in and out and you don't know where you are, but all these people are happy and you haven't, it was incredible. And if I wouldn't have been there, he wouldn't have been able to share it. And like you said, the nuggets of wisdom are incredible. Like that just helped me so much through everything, including not being afraid of dying, because there's this process, like we're not let down, unless someone's trying to stick a needle in us to kill us, like they do sometimes. Sorry, I mean, everyone loves their animals, but it's just crazy. Anyways, I can't go there, but yeah, if you're allowed to die, there is gifts, and to be with people who are dying, I always thought that would be very cool, no matter what. If you just are silent or can help them out or read a book or something, sing a song, like whatever, just so they're just with you or with them. And so I really appreciate what you do. And yeah, there's just not enough, and there's not enough death cafes. Like, do they connect with each other through this too? Because no, it's one-on-one.
The association that you belong to, do they connect with each other? Like, does Burnaby connect with Chilliwack?
No, we're all independent, right?
Okay.
So,
what I was thinking is, like a Zoom meeting like this, can you get people who are needing, when you open the death cafe, do they come together like this so they can talk to each other too and make their own connections to each other?
They can. I offer that. So, like, I promote it on really through social media, Facebook, and I put up posters in coffee shops, and it's kind of word of mouth, and
because that would help them too, right? To meet with someone that is in the same situation, or maybe family that's in the same situation or whatever, just someone who can relate.
Yeah,
it's really
it's like I said, so it needs to be talked about, and too many families in the Western culture don't talk about it, right? And really, another purpose of the Death Cafe is really to inspire the living to get on with their lives, right? Okay, this person's gone, honor them, be grateful, and do your grieving and get on with your life and live your purpose and get basically a kick in the ass, right? So, if I can say that.
Really? Oh, I would never do it.
There's a death doula course at UBCO. Two of my friends have done it.
I think one in Douglas College.
Yeah,
I
did the one at Douglas College. I finished that one. And yes, there is one in Kelowna as well, near you, Paulette. A lot of their stuff is online right now as well, but one of the best courses I ever took. And it's an amazing program. And it's an amazing gift to give, being able to sit by someone when they pass away, right?
Yeah.
So I totally understand what you're saying.
And I'm also a hospice volunteer here in Hope. And I'm also a loss counselor. So I recognize that there's a lot more than just death going on as far as people feeling a bit lost right now. They've lost jobs, they've lost their network, they've lost the way they live, and they're grieving on some level for what they were or where they're at right now to where they were a year and a half ago. So loss I see is much bigger than just grief. It goes across all platforms. And I think people too are feeling scared. They're scared about who they are, where they are, what their future's really all about. How do you create a sense out of something that doesn't make sense? And people are feeling powerless. People are feeling a longing to connect and to be a part of something. And COVID, unfortunately, has done such a good number on us that fear seems to be ruling the overall connectiveness with people rather than recognizing, yes, our lives have changed and the likelihood of them going back to what they were is not very high. We're probably going to always be aware of the fact that this might be one of many plagues to come. We don't know. It's all unknown. But we still have to maintain a quality way of life. And how do you do that? So that ties into who are we and where are we really heading?
Right. So we talk about death community, right? So what does that look like? Because we have to, like I said, the spouse is left alone. They're foggy. They can't think right. They need to eat. They need to clothes wash. They need to be checked in. You know, are they okay? Are you drinking yourself to death, or you know, how are you handling your grief or whatever's going on for them? So you talk about that, and there's other countries that have some sort of death community, right? So we need.
So
that.
Peter, what exactly do you where do you hold this before COVID, for example? Do you have an actual cafe, or is it like meeting at a rental place, or like where do you go?
Well, yeah, I originally wanted to have it. It was at the hotel downtown. Then they had a room back there, right? They held 50 people, right? So, and they were very accommodating. I was going to hold my first, live death cafe or public, but then COVID shut everything down, and so I went online, and it's been great. Really, you have people all over the world. I had people from Australia to back east, all over the United States, and they all have something to say, and they all have some, they want some closure and stuff as well. So
how often do you have these?
It's once a month, every third Wednesday of the month. And I don't know if I can share a link, or it's a Chilliwack Death Cafe Facebook page. You can need to register and start from 7 to about 8:30, maximum 2 hours, right? So sometimes I have one person, sometimes it's 15 people, and sometimes I had 30 people register and 10 show up, right? So I don't know where they all go. So, but it's always interesting that people show up.
And one of the things I'd like to add is I'm actually a COVID I'm a COVID orphan because my mother died 3 months ago, and I haven't been able to get back home to New Zealand, and I haven't been able to grieve like most people would grieve. Because I haven't gone back to the source. So trying to celebrate someone's life when you can't be with loved ones that you would normally be with, and then on top of that, do your own form of grief while being isolated from everybody else. So that's presented some new awareness for me, which I wouldn't have got if I hadn't have had my own personal journey. So I understand what Peter is doing is absolutely critical for people's emotional well-being and support. It's a lifeline. It's knowing that you're going to be okay in spite of feeling like crap. So, you know, I commend you on being proactive, because I think this is really where it's heading. You know, if we can't be where we need to be in order to grieve, we need to connect in other ways.
Yeah, and that's what COVID is teaching us. It's we have to pivot, or we have to look after ourselves. Like I said, the deaf community. And if you want to host your own deaf cafe, you can just do it on your own, or there's a format. You go to deafcafe.com and you follow their guidelines and adhere to their rules. That's what I do. And you can promote your deaf cafe on there. So I get people from all over the world connecting. It's like, oh, there's one happening here, so I'll just join in. But it's you can join those deaf cafes. They're all over the world, like, you know, from Europe, China to Italy to UK to everywhere in the States and in Canada, and they're all very similar, right? So a few of those, and it's great. Right? I think it's good. So that's what a deaf cafe is about, and like I said, yeah, do it once a month. And there's a need for it, and how we can help is really about listening and relaxing and trying to help them sleep.
Yeah, it's interesting how. Go ahead, Trace.
If we wanted to, I don't know, connect on your calls one time, would that be okay? How do we connect?
Yeah. Well, I can post a link in Green's, or you can
send me the link,
Facebook.
and I'll just post it on the U Academy graduates site if you want.
Okay, yeah, or you can go to my Chillback Death Cafe Facebook page, and you'll find a link on there.
I can always do that too.
There's a bunch of articles on there. Or you can go to deathcafe.com and search death cafes in your area.
Oh yeah, and it's the third
Wednesday. Yeah,
okay.
It's 7 o'clock till 8:30.
Well, really good thinking. Got me thinking, because I think there's lots of need right now, and maybe need more down the road, you know.
There's,
the baby boomers.
Yeah, it's again, a lot of people don't understand what we do, how we can help, right? So it's up to us to let them know and talk to doctors or nurses that are in that area, helping the people, because they don't know. Too many are still suffering and feel they're alone and don't know what to do. Right? So, and they're looking for closure. And what the hospice or what the grief groups do is, like, they don't really help people. Well, they try to, right? But a lot of them, you're still hearing the same old story of, I'm still sad, and how many times I've heard that was, I'm not doing well, I'm doing this, and it's all the negative stuff. Right? Go ahead.
Mara wants to say something.
No, I'm just so amazed as how the universe works, because less than 2 weeks ago I lost my brother from Italy. He was suffering, so in a way I thought, okay, at least he doesn't suffer anymore, but in those few days, I went through guilt and not closure. You cannot see them, and stuff that you can talk about because he was not able to talk anymore in the last few months. So until he passed away, that was the process with me. So it's nice to know that there is places like that where you can go. And sorry, now I don't know why I'm crying, but yeah, I think it's wonderful, yeah, that there is a place where you can, I mean, the consolation of the fact that they brought him to the last few days, they brought him to the hospital for ammonia. And then, I mean, the wife knew that that was it, and it was just gonna die in the hospital, but because of COVID, and then he would be dying alone, she decided to, and she was successful in taking him home. And it was nice to know that the rest of my sisters and the family and everybody was around him. So that was good. Yeah.
That's awesome. Good for her. I'm glad he didn't die alone.
Yeah, no, like that would have hurt me more to know
Yeah.
that he was there and nobody around to. So, and that was just the next day after he came home to his house. So, and everybody was there. So
That's what a lot of people don't seem to understand, is that you can take your family member home if you know they're going to die and you can't do anything for them, and you can get the doctors on board for pain management and, plan, right? And a lot of people don't understand they have the power to do that. So many people die in the hospitals that don't need to die in the hospital, especially during COVID alone, right? So.
Yeah, no, she was very strong about that because she had a good support with the kids, helped her with whatever needed, the washing, the things that we don't talk about, bathing and cleaning and all that stuff. So I was happy when they told me that they took him home, and then a day later they told me that they had passed away. So at least he was with family. I think that's so important. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, thank you, Mary.
Sorry to hear.
Yeah, I think it's nice to know that there is a place where you can go and talk about that. Yeah. I had no idea what that cafe was, but now I do, and I will share it with other people that might need support.
Yeah, it's like I said, people who are terminal or in that situation or diagnosed with cancer.
Yeah.
It's a great platform, and sometimes they just listen, and sometimes they.
And sometimes even so many people called and trying to give their condolence, and I mean, what can you say? What can you say when somebody, we're so sorry. Yeah, okay, I'm
Yeah,
like the other girl lady was saying, it's like it's awkwardness, and as like me, I'm in certain situation, I just like to just leave me alone, let me cry by myself. I don't want nobody, and that's
the other challenge.
Yeah,
we don't know how to act when somebody's dying, and what was I going to say?
But it's a part of life, and the hypnotherapy that I took, maybe everything, like I said, the universe works in strange ways, and that was a little information that helped me because I knew how to at least help myself in the process. Yeah.
Interesting. 2 out of 9 had something that happened really recently. that's how much it's needed, right?
It's the anxiety afterwards, like everything afterwards too, right? Sense of being alone and helplessness, like you expressed, is like with COVID, I can't go and see my family member dying. It's like, no, because hospital rules or whatever government rules. And that's stressful too. And
Absolutely.
that closure.
Yeah.
So it's something that, you know, when I talk about it, we say dead or dying. It's not like they're passing on, or like a lot of these families, like, or doctors say, well, or they said, all right, it's only okay, you'll get better, we'll get through this. And, no, you're dying, right?
Well, that's the conversation that they were giving the wife, and
yeah,
you know, it's okay, leave him here. We're gonna take care of him. I said, no, you're not gonna take care of him. All you're gonna give him is maybe medicine for pain, but other than that, you're not gonna help him. But I can help him at home, knowing that he's in his own house. I was impressed on how she handled all that.
Yeah, because you're very present, right? Because this is get minutes or hours or days left. It's happening. There's no fixing it, I guess. So.
And you hear stories that the hospital gets money when people, you know, die in the hospital. And now it's even worse because they get money when they die of COVID. So everybody now is dying to COVID related things. So they get more money at the hospital. So I'm sure they would have wanted to keep him because, you know, it's that factor is there, and it should never enter the picture, but that's what happens on the political side.
Yeah, I have another friend that the uncle was dying, and they knew he went to the hospital for totally something else. And in the papers, they put he had COVID. So they fought that. They said, you're not putting that there because it's not true. I don't care how much money you think you're going to get from just one body. And he had to change it. He said, no. And so this is when you get, you know, like you really have to get involved in this person's life. You know, how do you want it to, you know, truth never fails, right? You know, you wanted the truth. You don't want to just make it, it's COVID and that's it, you know, when it's not even, it didn't even go to the hospital because of COVID.
Yep.
Yeah, that's part of the strangeness now with the media. Like, it's all pretty twisted up.
Yeah, it is a bit.
And there's a lot of, I've heard stories here. I knew somebody who works at a morgue here, and he says this is what happens all the time. A person dies of natural causes and they get a COVID tag. You know, he died of COVID. It's like you said, it's money. And
they died of cancer.
Yeah.
Or a heart attack, you know, like, yeah.
But it's stats, it's whatever that is. And also with some of these hospices as well, they're like, you know, the living members, you know, they want to give money to the hospice. And some of these hospices are privately owned, right? And you got to be aware that they're not told that, right? It's like, I want to give $10,000 to the hospital. Well, it's going to a private company. It's not going to.
You had an embezzler in Kelowna.
A non-funding.
The embezzler in Kelowna.
Yeah. She took $160,000 out of hospice, which I just couldn't even imagine someone being that shallow. Like, that's horrible. Take it away from dying people. That's horrible. Anyway.
And also,
Thanks, Tracy.
before people start leaving them, I don't know if I can say this, but no, or I'm part of the BC IMDHA Facebook group where we meet once a month. Can I talk about this?
Yeah.
Sure.
And we're always looking for more people.
We're all members of IMDHA.
Okay, good. Well,
I am a school with IMDHA.
yeah, so we meet once a month, or we try and meet once a month. We're on Zoom now, and And we
Okay.
talk about it's like this. We want to help one another, support one another. We have guest speakers usually. We can practice and discuss whatever topics you want to talk about. So it's just another support group. And we created because of there's many members or many people that were in that Facebook group that either we don't know, they're not responding or they're not part of it, not part of PCIMDHA anymore. And so we created a new Facebook group, BC Professional Hypnotherapists. But we're carrying on the same. You don't have to belong to any